Welcome in, guys. Hope you're doing okay. I'm your host Ben, and this is Who's Clues. Let's jump into our last episode's mystery, titled The Clockmaker's Secret. Our suspects were invited to the Clockmaker's manor, where our late Horace Grimshaw's will would be read. Events took place at our manor where one of the individuals did not survive. Edgar Phelps, Horace's young protege, was found crushed beneath a giant pendulum clock. When our detective arrived, she suspected foul play. So, our main suspects were Lillian Grimshaw, Horace's young widow; Beatrix Hartwell, the wealthy art dealer who was Horace's close friend; Gregory Finch, the debt-ridden lawyer tasked with managing Horace's estate; and Margaret Vance, the writer. She was also there to uncover the truth behind the curse of the clocks. Now that we've stepped back into the story, let's progress with the conclusion. Our detective focuses on the blueprint and the altered clock. She deduces that the killer tampered with the pendulum clock to create a trap, knowing Edgar's habits of inspecting the workshop before bed. The missing inner workings from Beatrice's clock were used to modify the mechanism. The killer is revealed to be Lillian Grimshaw, desperate to secure her place in Horace's legacy and furious about Edgar's claim to the estate. She devised the murder to look like an accident. The blueprint in Edgar's pocket was her undoing. It contained fingerprints, proving she handled it shortly before the murder. Lillian confesses, her composed facade cracking as she curses Horace for favouring his apprentice over her. She had hoped the missing time-controlling clock would secure her fortune, but its true location remains a mystery. As Lillian is taken away, the storm begins to lift, and the eerie ticking of the clocks seems to grow louder. Maggie speculates on the missing clock, theorising it may still hold the secrets to Horace's obsession with time. Our detective, though sceptical, feels a strange unease as she departs the manor. In Holbrook, the legend of the cursed clocks grows stronger, and the shadow of the Grimshaw family looms ever larger. The unanswered question lingers: did Horace Grimshaw truly unlock the secrets of time, or did he leave behind a puzzle even darker than murder? And that is the end of that mystery. I hope you enjoyed that one. Well, I'm glad the detective didn't figure out time travel on that one, otherwise the future stories would be very short. As always, we close one story and open a new one. This episode's story is titled Death at the Mall. Set in the sprawling and glamorous Silver Heights Mall, a multi-level shopping complex that boasts high-end boutiques, a bustling food court, and a panoramic rooftop garden. The mall is packed with holiday shoppers during a bustling Black Friday event. When chaos erupts, mall manager Peter Holloway is found dead in his office. The news spreads like wildfire, and the mall is locked down by security, trapping staff and customers inside. Unfortunately, our detective happens to be shopping at the time and takes charge of the scene. Let's go through the characters. There's Peter Holloway, the victim. He was the mall's manager, known for his demanding nature. Peter had made enemies among staff and tenants. He recently announced changes to the lease agreements and angered several store owners. Next is Rachel Vega, the assistant manager. Ambitious and poised, Rachel often clashed with Peter over his management style, but insists she respect him. Next is Logan Reed, a disgruntled store owner of Tech Haven, a struggling electronics shop. Logan blamed Peter for raising rent, which threatened to close his business. Next, we have Mira Chang, a teenage employee at a popular clothing boutique named Trendy Threads. Mira was caught shoplifting earlier that day and had a heated argument with Peter. Next is Eleanor Marks, an eccentric artist who owns the mall's custom jewellery kiosk. Eleanor had frequent disputes with Peter over her unorthodox sales methods and late rent payments. And finally, there's Bryce Hammond, the head of mall security. Bryce was loyal to Peter, but recently found out about budget cuts threatening his department. That's the setting and characters. Let's get to the events. Amid the catastrophe of Black Friday shopping, Peter Holliday's body is discovered in the office of the top floor. He is slumped over his desk, a mug of coffee spilled beside him, a jagged wound on his temple, and the smell of burnt coffee suggests foul play. Our detective secures the scene and begins interviewing witnesses. As the investigation unfolds, it becomes clear that Peter's death is no random act, but a carefully planned murder. Motives surface, with staff tenants revealing grievances, secrets, and alliances. Our detective spots clues around the area. There's a mug with traces of sedative, suggesting Peter was drugged before being struck on the head. And found in Peter's office is a lease of termination notice for Tech Haven. Logan's signature is smudged at the bottom, indicating a confrontation. The mall cameras show Bryce Hammond entering Peter's office, but not leaving until after the body was discovered. Also, found under Peter's desk is a silver bracelet. It matches the style sold at Eleanor Mark's jewellery kiosk. Also, a hidden stash of cash is found in Rachel Vega's locker. The cash is found bundled in envelopes with Peter's handwriting. And finally, found in the trash, there's a burnt napkin. It bears Mira Chang's name and the phrase, "Meet me at 7 p.m. Further secrets were found throughout the investigation. Rachel admits Peter was planning to promote her, but she found the cash in the office and kept it for herself, thinking he wouldn't notice. She denies any involvement in his death. Logan confesses to arguing with Peter earlier in the day. He claims Peter was threatening to evict him, but insists he didn't kill him. Eleanor admits she was in Peter's office trying to negotiate a payment plan for her rent. She claims the bracelet must have fallen off during their meeting. And Mira admits Peter caught her shoplifting and demanded she work to repay the store. The note was her plea for leniency, which she left in the office earlier that evening. Finally, Bryce insists he was in Peter's office to discuss the budget cuts. He left briefly to investigate a suspicious person in the parking lot, which explains his lack of camera footage leaving the office. And this is where we will pause this mystery. Let's go through the suspects, see who you think it is. There was Rachel Vega. Money was found in her locker. Do you think Peter discovered this? Next is Logan Reed. Perhaps murdering Peter would have saved his store, Tech Haven, from termination. Next is Mira Chang, the teenage employee. Perhaps shoplifting wasn't the only crime she committed. There's Eleanor Marks, the eccentric artist who owns the jewellery kiosk. Is she telling the truth about her bracelet just falling off during a meeting with Peter? And finally, Bryce Hammond, the head of mall security. Do you think his story about the lack of camera footage is true? Like always, the conclusion will be revealed in the next episode. Also, our detective is living quite the lifestyle. She's been to cursed villages, a supposed time traveller's house. She solved a classic murder on a train, and now apparently can't go shopping without some sort of murder happening. But in fairness, it could be her own fault. She went shopping during Black Friday. That's perhaps the worst crime of this day. Okay, no, it's the murder. Anywho, I can't wait to reveal this one to you guys in the next episode. Thank you all very much for listening. Goodbye.